So it's like one of those trial and error, like, oh, that looked cute, and now that didn't look cute.
I'm done.
I'm done.
Right, that makes sense.
I love the spot that she picked.
Yeah, just because it's in Harlem, in a predominantly black neighborhood.
I love it. What do you do now? I know you were makeup before.
Yeah, I work for a nonprofit. It's a trade organization. And basically, I do events, and I manage the events, and I plan them out for them.
Nice. Oh, you that grown up? You make that many moves?
No, not at all.
So let's talk about that. Because you've worked in the corporate grown-up world for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And you worked with, like, I know that you worked in makeup, but you were working like the business office with everything, right?
Corporate office.
Has it gotten better or has it gotten worse?
I mean, I think better in the sense that you can be more like vocally honest about maybe challenges, or there's a certain level of comfort maybe, but then how those challenges in the workplace are addressed are like, it's, I don't know if that's like fully been like, I don't know what the word to say, like come to fruition. Like, I don't know if
so you can say something, but that doesn't mean you're gonna do something.
Right.
We heard you, but that don't mean nothing really.
Right, exactly. Because if you look at big companies anyway, like what in 2020, 2021, people were like, oh, okay, we see black people now. We see people of color now, quote unquote. And like companies that didn't have DEI departments created those departments. People didn't have people in those chief diversity roles. They hired people in those roles. And then when the economy gets funny, those are the departments that go. So that means you don't see it as a true line of business, as part of the business.
It's something we did to say we did.
Right. You not get rid of the CFO. You need a CFO.
Did you see all those black women who got fired like within a couple days after the affirmative action thing got?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Yeah, hold on, let's let this ice cream truck over. I can't even tell you the last time I seen an ice cream truck.
Huh?
I can't even tell you the last time I seen an ice cream truck.
Girl, they be around here all the time. Nah, I didn't say Harlem's gonna be quiet.
I know. But you know what? When I was filming yesterday, and there was so much traffic, I panicked because I was like, there's people walking in front of the camera. But I was like, this is New York. Like, this is New York.
Absolutely. Literally.
It is.
Where were you at yesterday filming?
Brooklyn, on that waterfront area.
Oh, okay.
Promenade.
Oh, by the Brooklyn Bridge?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
pretty
promenade.
over there. And over there, that's gentrification. Completely different.
So, has it always been like that? Because over there it's money over there.
Oh, yes, money. I don't know. Was it like factories or something maybe over there before? I don't know exactly what was there before, but not like that is just, yeah. It's like mind-boggling to me sometimes, even when I go there.
When I'm walking through New York is one of the most diverse places I've ever been. Like, you'll sit here and you'll see a black person that speaks French. You'll see a white person and they speak Spanish. You'll see what you think is a Latino person and Russian comes out of their mouth, right? But in that same breath, it's the most segregated place.
I guess I never thought about that, but yeah. Yeah, it is. I never thought about that.
It's most segregated. Like, how we went places and we were the only black people there. And they probably think that I'm, Puerto Rican or something.
Yeah.
And then you'll go down the street. It's the most diverse, but yet the most segregated.
Interesting.
You never noticed that?
Yeah, no. I don't feel like... I guess I think of it as, when I think segregated, I think of like have and have nots. Like, people, like if you're from the Bronx, you probably stay in the Bronx, you work in the Bronx, you live in the Bronx, your family's in the Bronx. The times that you go to the city is not often. Like, you don't come to the quote-unquote city. Like, Harlem is part of the quote-unquote city. So, I know people, you could be in the Bronx and like just be there for months and not come to the city. So, when I think of it as segregated, I think of it in that sense.
But economic is a segregation thing.
Yes,
because those folks have money, like generations money.
I mean, if you go to like the Upper East Side, absolutely.
Like, how did you obtain this in your lifetime? To me, it boggles my mind. Like, how can one person obtain this amount of wealth in one lifetime. It's impossible.
I
It
don't
had
even
to be
think it's,
legacy.
yeah, like I don't think it's like one person in this lifetime. I think it's several lifetimes, especially when you look at like the Upper East Side, like that's old money.
Right.
Like people in New York call that old money, so to speak. So that's money that's going down by person, by family,
Correct.
by family, by family. Like you're not doing that in one. And maybe you can. I don't know. I mean, if you're Elon Musk, I guess you can create that in one
He came from
generation.
money, from what I understand.
Okay, so then there I
Yeah, he came from money, from what I understand.
so money, you make money, you got to come from money to get money.
Do you think moving? Let's back up a little bit. So, Michelle, you and I went to high school together. We were road dogs
Yeah.
hanging out in high school. Me, you,
Right.
Toya, Lona.
Right.
And you were one of the first people that went away from college and did not coming back. It did not come back that I remember. And you
Mm.
came to New York. Was it the best move, worst move, or tell me?
Um.
Because to me, in my head, like to be strong enough to move to New York was like I couldn't even fathom it. And then for you to have left and stayed here so long.
Right. Well, I moved in between. So like after high school, like I, graduated and left Long Beach, but then my dad was in the Navy and I was born here. So I'm originally from New York.
Oh, I didn't
So,
know it.
yeah, I was born here. We moved to San Diego when I first met Toya, like maybe 4th or 5th grade. I don't remember what year that was. So, like I still have and at that time had family here. So, after I graduated, I ended up going to Jacksonville because that's where my dad was stationed at.
Mm.
So then once I moved there, and then I started working in radio, and I started moving. I went to St. Louis, Milwaukee, and then I got a job and came to New York at the radio station
Michelle, you
here.
worked in radio?
Mhm.
What you do in radio, Michelle? I
I
didn't
did
know that.
promotions. I did events, basically what I still do
What you
now,
doing
events.
now?
Yep.
Are you on the radio? Did you have to go, I'm Michelle and I'm come
Never.
to
I might have voiced over a commercial or two or
come
something,
to
but
so and
that's it.
so at 3 o'clock on Friday for the party?
I'm like,
No.
no,
No. I
absolutely
wasn't you.
not. No.
Okay. I was getting hyped for nothing. You still love it out here?
It's a love-hate relationship. Like I love the city because there is a sense of diversity, but then there's so much. Like whatever you want is here. Like
It is.
there's nothing you need. It's here. And if you can't find it, you just not looking.
That's it.
And so whether it's art and culture and people and like I love going to the museums and the galleries and just walking around Chelsea, like it's all here. And to me, like in LA and Southern California,
Yeah.
like it's no substance. Like it's
Yeah.
not there. Like there's amazing things to do and there's art galleries and all that too, but there's still a sense of like a box, a square. And everything is a box and a square. It just matter what's in that box or square, if that makes sense.
That's why I left San Diego when I went to go visit Atlanta and I moved to Atlanta.
I remember
Well,
you left and went
Atlanta
to
had me,
Atlanta.
baby.
Atlanta had everybody.
Didn't it? Didn't it?
Because I was like, she going to Atlanta.
I
Everybody's
sure
going to
did.
Atlanta.
All the way in Atlanta. Because San
And to me, I
Diego.
see that as a bigger change.
Really?
From San Diego to the south? Yes.
You know what? You're absolutely right.
To the south?
Because if you want to talk
Ooh.
about segregation, thank
Got
you.
it.
If you want to talk about segregation, that was segregation.
Exactly.
I remember, Michelle, my first like corporate job. I worked at a gym. I worked at a bar. I remember my first corporate job. Because back then everybody thought nobody knew I was black.
Mm.
So when I
Oh,
walked,
like when you moved to Atlanta?
when I was younger.
Mm.
So when I walked into the break room, I'll never forget. All the people on the right side were white.
Mm-hmm.
All the people on the left side were black. All the management were white. All the entry level customer service people were black. And I remember walking in, and then I just sat next to the people that I was working with because I worked customer service. And I remember after that, none of the white managers talked to me. I never, and coming from California, that was such a weird thing. I did not know at that moment that there was a line. And I had made a decision, or they had realized who I was, and now all of a sudden, I was inferior to them. But I had never experienced that before.
Yeah.
Like I haven't. Like I didn't even know about Emmett Till until I moved to Atlanta.
Really?
Did not know. And I said that
Mm,
out loud to my boyfriend one time who I was dating. He was like, don't ever say that again.
no, for real.
he said, don't ever say that again.
Let's let that go.
Never say that again.
But I mean, also too. I mean, these are things that I knew. I don't know how I knew these things. I don't know if I just researched. I don't know. Like I knew about it. I maybe not knew in depth, but I definitely knew about Emmett Till. But then if I also think about like history and all of that, it's not like they was teaching us that, especially
No,
not in San Diego.
no, not at all. We knew about Indians in like the sixth grade.
Right,
We knew that's
like
it. I
they
remember there was
wasn't
three
teach
chapters.
exactly. And I don't remember much of Black History Month.
No, we
So
had Martin Luther King, we had Rosa Parks, a couple comments about slavery, and that was about it.
yeah, so it's not like it's something that we were necessarily taught. Like unless you were taught at home, like explicitly, Black history, that's not something you're gonna
That's it.
learn necessarily in school. That's crazy you experienced that, like, but it's crazy you experienced it, but it's very indicative of the South.
It is, and I think my experience also was different because of how I looked.
Mm-hmm.
But it
Of
was the
course.
turn off that just was. It was so blatant. All of a sudden, like, oh, you're one of them.
And
It was the weirdest thing.
to me, it's not even that all of a sudden you're one of them, and it's like, oh, our bad, you're Black. That's
Yeah,
what it was. Oh, we're sorry, you're Black.
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
And it's so funny, and I tell people, like, growing up in San Diego, it's not, like you said, New York is a lot of different people.
Yeah.
You have Black Latinos, you have white Latinos. It's very diverse. I was just like, that is, I guess, the societal benefit of New York. I was like, in San Diego, it's not that. You're Black, you're white, you're
Yeah.
mixed, or and I don't even feel like you get the identity of mixed. You just get Black and Mexican. That's it.
That's it.
Like you don't get the people that I knew that were Panamanian. I'll never forget. And oh my God, Javier. We went to school with him. He was Panamanian. Like
Javier was Panamanian?
exactly, exactly. You
No!
would have never known that if I remember correctly. Yes,
No! Javier!
bald headed Javier.
Yes, built like a
Correctly.
grown man in high school?
Yes, dark skin. If I remember correctly, he
Yeah.
was Panamanian. But in San Diego, like that's people. You didn't identify like, oh, I'm Nigerian. Oh, I'm Jamaican. No, I'm Black. Like,
But then wasn't that one of the things I loved about San Diego is that race wasn't an issue.
was it?
Oh, tell me. Hold on. Here's my fantasy of San Diego. And I say fantasy because somebody else had to tell me their version of San Diego too. To me, San Diego was picture perfect. To me, there was no racism. Like you knew somebody was different, but it wasn't a conversation. Like I knew Javier was different because he was a Black man with the name Javier. But I didn't feel that race mattered because on the base we were all there. I knew there's Filipino, I knew there was Samoan, I knew that when I walked into your house, it smelled different. I know that your mama said spoke a different language. I know that the decoration was different, but it wasn't something that was a focus.
Right.
And
I mean, but I think okay. So I feel like it's a lot of things to that. Because one, yes, we all lived in military housing. So in military housing, like it is this melting pot of people, right?
Right.
And everybody's from everywhere, and you have differences. And then you also have this, and you have a lot of people that are mixed in San Diego. There are a lot of
Right.
a huge community of mixed and half Black and Filipino and Mexican, whatever it may be. And so for me, my experience was, yeah, it might not be a racist city, but it's necessary. But it is a city that will identify and show you who is better and who's not. And those who were mixed were better, were prettier, especially when it comes to the girls. You were prettier if you were mixed, if you were light skinned, you had long hair.
Yeah.
Like you can't deny that
I'm
was
not at all.
like the
Yeah.
reality of like how it was there, and that's
Yeah.
the reality of like to me California. Like that's Southern California at its finest. Like light skin, long hair, light eyes. That's what it is.
Did you ever feel some kind of way? Because you did hang out with all the mixed girls.
Which is so weird because I was just like, how did that happen? I swear, to this day I think about that, and I'm like, I don't know how that happened.
Did you feel some kind of way? Because I didn't. I didn't feel any kind of way. Like you're Mechelle. Like I didn't.
Right. So for me, I never felt any type of way because so for me, I always was like, these are the people that I met. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like these, especially again, the people that I met when I first moved here. And I think a lot of people didn't even realize that, especially about Nyla. Like I literally, like first year at D Portola, I met Nyla
I didn't know that y'all were that close that long. I
in
didn't even
PE
know that.
class.
I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like mixed girls? There's this thing that mixed girls are. They have a privilege to them.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, on my end, it's like, yeah, you may think it's all privilege, but there's some shit that come with it too.
Right.
There's both of them. What's your perspective? Because you hung with the mixed girls.
Right. I mean, I do want to say, like, if you're a lighter skinned person, like, let's be clear, in this society, especially in black society, there is a hierarchy, right? There has been a hierarchy created. So you can't deny that, yes, there's a hierarchy in wanting to be, I don't want to sound like the whole, like, hotep, like, closer to whiteness, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I get
anything
it.
closer to whiteness is better, is greater, it's
Yeah,
better. Talk white, you look more white, you
yeah.
quote unquote dress. So anything closer to that is, you know what I'm saying, is going to be quote unquote a privilege to me. So I think that is true. It is absolutely a privilege. Does it mean like everything is rose, peachy and
Right.
rosy? No, because like you said, you have people question your blackness and you know your nationality and your race or whatever. You don't want people to question that. You identify how you identify.
Right.
And I also think when you talk about women, like black women and lighter skinned black women, absolutely, I think there's a privilege to it. But again, it doesn't mean that you're not having certain
That's
types
all
of
perfect.
experience, exactly,
Yeah.
experiences on the other side.
How is it? How's dating for you?
Oh God.
Why did your nose flare? Why did your nose? You can tell one nostril you were trying to hold it in so hard.
It's going. I don't know how to define it. Is definitely going. I mean, if you talk about dating in the sense of like my experience as a darker skinned woman, like I've definitely had guys say to me like, "Oh, you would be so dope if you were like light skinned
Really?
or you here in New York, oh, you'd be so dope if you was Spanish or if you was this or question my blackness." Like a lot of people would question my blackness when I first moved here and I thought that was crazy because they were like, "You can't just be black because you have long hair." Like I can actually.
I do actually. Like, what do you
Yeah,
mean?
like do you see that I have long hair, you think that like I'm not black. Like how does that erase black? But like I am. I never forget having a whole like argument with this dude in a club. He was just like, dude, it was like the first year I was here, and I was just like, bro, I'm black. I am just black. There's nothing.
They just could not grasp it.
Couldn't grasp it. Like it was just like, well, I know you're black, but like, are you Dominican? Are you this? You that?
No,
No,
I'm just black.
black. So like in that sense, that has I've experienced that a lot here in California. Definitely experiencing like, oh, you need to act like the white girls, or you know, oh, if you were mixed, you probably wouldn't be so aggressive and all that other. Oh, girl,
Really?
absolutely. I could say one statement and you could say the same thing, and the interpretation is completely
Different.
different.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah. I can
completely
see that.
different.
I can see
I
that.
want a man that has established career. You say I want a man that has established career. I'm a gold digger. But
Uh,
you just want somebody that's got established career. Like a lot of times
yeah,
it's
I can see
completely
that.
changed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like so I don't know. It's just yeah, very interesting.
Very, very.
I'll never forget being on the in California. I don't know where I was. I was in LA or something. And this dude was with this white girl and he saw me and I'm whatever. Again, it's California. You see mixed couples all the
All
time.
the time.
I'm unfazed by it.
Yeah.
That man looked at me dead in my eyes and then grabbed her and kissed her. And I was just like,
For what reason?
right. I was, and it was very much so like, yeah, it was just a weird, I had never experienced anything before like that in my life. I was just like, what
That's
is,
one of the things that really kind of bothers me, that makes it hard for mixed kids. The dumb shit that people do who are in interracial relations. Now that I know what I'm looking at, now that I know what I can see, 'cause a lot of things happen, you don't understand and make the connection.
Of course.
You realize that a lot of people get with someone who is not black, and they have this thing where they have to prove how much better they are. And then that just trickles down. Like, you got to prove that you're above and beyond it. So then you got to fight for your kids because they got to walk in a room that got everybody thinking that they think that they're above and beyond it. And then it's this weird cycle, and it's so stupid to me.
It is.
And now that I'm seeing it, I get it. Like, I get to a certain extent why there's such animosity and how much there's resentment. But then on the other hand, it's like, I didn't shit.
Right, yeah.
Like, I didn't set the system up.
And it's true. And
I literally just arrived.
I just got here.
I just got here.
Wasn't that long ago. But that's real though. Like, it sucks that someone would have animosity against you in that sense, but it's just like also too, I do have empathy for those experiences.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
But it doesn't mean you have to take that on me. I just arrived.
Yeah.
I just got here.
I just got here.
And you immediately think that I think I'm all that, or I think I'm this, or it's like, it's not the case. But it also happens to me. Like, I just got here and you think I'm angry. Why you think I'm angry? I'm not mad. Like, yeah. I am not mad. But because I'm passionate, I'm angry. But it's beautiful if you're dating a Latino woman and that's yes. what you like.
Yes.
That's beautiful yes. for you. So, but when I express the same thing, it's this level of anger that is just, like, not understandable.
But even with that too, people love to say black women are angry, but if you look up the hashtag Karens, like, who is the biggest, angriest woman out here? Causing the most havoc, the most drama.
Child.
Well, shut this whole restaurant down because she didn't get a lemon.
Not a whole restaurant.
Kids, for real, knocking kids off of skateboards. Tearing down entire airports because she missed her flight. So it's weird, like, no. It shit is across the board. It's across the board.
It is. It absolutely is. But unfortunately, like, this country was built on race, white and black, good and bad, yes and no.
True.
Up and down.
Very, very true. Are you scared in a couple of years you won't recognize Harlem?